Oh, hello, fellow YouTubers, truth seekers, and Mandela affected. I'm Darkwolf, and this is Darkwolf's Den. I'm so glad you guys are here tonight. Maybe things won't get too crazy. You can see it gets kind of wild around here on a full moon, so you never know what can happen. Watch out for those two guys above me. They're kind of, mad, kind of out there. Be careful. But besides those, it's pretty safe here. We've got a guard dog or a guard wolf here checking out, make sure everything's okay, and you've got me. So since you guys are here, I really want to share with you something I've been looking into. So you guys remember the other day we were talking about this door, this unsealable door of India, one that can only be opened with sound and frequencies at a certain rhythm, a certain rate, in the right way, done by the right person. The right officiation, if you will. Well, what really caught my interest about this door was the fact that it had these great big snakes on it. These two giant cobras. At least that's what they're supposed to be. And I kept wondering, why in the world do we see this in the ancient cultures? We always see the cobras, or the snakes, I mean, not just the cobras. But all across the ancient world we see snakes. What does it mean? Well, we usually attribute a lot of different things to snakes. Here in the West, we consider them evil. And the Christians also consider a snake a symbol of evil or the devil. But in most other religions and even ancient cultures, like I mentioned, they were not an evil creature but a divinity representing eternity as well as materiality, life as well as death, and time as well as timelessness. The ancient Egyptians worshipped snakes, especially the cobra. The cobra is not only associated with the sun god Ra, but also many other deities. Serpents could also be evil and harmful, such as the case of Apep and Set. They were also referenced in the Book of the Dead, in which spell 39 was made to help repel an evil snake in the underworld. Get back, crawl away, get away from me, you snake. Go, be drowned in the lake of the abyss, the place where your father commanded that the slaying of you should be carried out. This is again from spell 39 in the Book of the Dead. Wajet was the patron goddess of Upper Egypt, and was represented as a cobra also, with spread hood or a cobra-headed woman. She later became one of the protective emblems on the pharaoh's crown. Once Upper and Lower Egypt were united, she was said to spit fire at the pharaoh's enemies. As referred to as one of the eyes of Ra, she was often associated with the lioness goddess also. The ancient Mayan deity Kukulkan and the Aztec Quetzalcoatl, both meaning feathered serpent, figured prominently in their respective cultures. Kukulkan was an official state deity of Itza in the North Yucatan. In many Mesoamerican cultures, the serpent was regarded as a portal between two worlds. The worship of Quetzalcoatl, whose mask I have here on the screen, dates back to as early as the 1st century BC at Teotihuacan. In the post-classic period, the cult was centered at Cholula. Quetzalcoatl was associated with the wind, the dawn, the planet of Venus, the morning star, which is the planet of Venus, and was a tutelary patron of arts, crafts, merchants, and priesthood. In some cultures, snakes were fertility symbols. For example, the Hopi of North America performed an annual snake dance to celebrate the union of a snake youth, sky spirit, and snake girl, in underworld spirit, and to renew the fertility of nature. During the dance, live snakes were handled, and I love this part. At the end of the dance, the snakes were released into the fields to guarantee good crops. In Cambodia, or Asia, serpents or nagas play an important role in Cambodian mythology. A well-known story explains the emergence of the Khmer people from the union of Indian and indigenous elements, the latter being represented as nagas. According to the story, an Indian Brahmana named Kandinya, I am so murdering this name, came to Cambodia, which at that time was under the dominion of the Naga king, or Snake King. The Naga princess Soma sailed forth to fight against the invader but was defeated. Presented with the option of marrying the victorious Kandinya, Soma readily agreed to do so, and together they ruled the land. The Khmer people are said to be their descendants. In ancient China, 8 dragon kings who assembled at the gathering where Shakyamuni preached the Lotus Sutra as described in the sutra. Kamarajiva's translation of the Lotus Sutra referred to them by their Sanskrit names: Nanda, Upananda, Sagara, Vasuki, Takshaka, Anavatapta, Manasvin, and Utpalaka. According to the introduction, first chapter of the Lotus Sutra, each attends a gathering accompanied by several thousands of followers. In Korea mythology, Eosbin, the wealth goddess, appears as an eared black snake. Chilasognin and her 7 daughters are all snakes, and as you see here, this is Chilasognin. Of course, I had to get the harder one pronounced, didn't I? These goddesses are deities of orchards, courts, and protect the home. According to Juju Pangtorap, the people fear snakes. They worship it as a god. When they see a snake, they call it Great God, and do not kill or chase it away. The reason for snakes symbolizing worth was because they ate rats and other pests, at least according to common ideology. Though some of us believe it could have been much, much more to it. I'll leave you to make your own mind up on that. In Rome, serpents were worshipped as long as much of ancient Europe. The Roman genius Loki took form of a serpent. But in Italy, as we have this picture here, the Mauritian goddess Agnetia, whose name derives from the word serpent, was associated with witches, snakes, and snake charmers. Agnetia is believed to have also been a goddess of healing. Her worship was centered on the central Apennine region. A snake was kept and fed with milk during rites dedicated to Patrempus, a Prussian god, which is one we have right here. I'm not sure which one, or it could be all 3. I'm not entirely sure. On the Iberian Peninsula, there is evidence that before the introduction of Christianity, and perhaps more strongly before Roman invasions, serpent worship was a standout feature of local religions. To this day, numerous traces in European popular belief, especially in Germany, of respect for the snake, possibly a survival of ancestor worship. The house snake cares for the cows and children, and its appearance is an omen of death. And the lives of a pair of house snakes are often held to be bound with that of the master and the mistress of the house. Tradition states that one of the Gnostic sects known as the Ophites caused the tame serpent to coil around the sacramental bread and worshipped as a representative of the Savior. In Lanuvum, a big snake was venerated as a god as they offered human sacrifice to it. In Australia, various Aboriginal mythologies tell of a huge python like you see here, known by a variety of names but universally referred to as the rainbow serpent, that was said to have created the landscape, embodied the spirit of the fresh water, and punished lawbreakers. The Aborigines in southwest Australia called the serpent the Wagil, while the Maramunga of the east coast worshipped the mythical Wallanoka. Now, ancient India both feared and revered the snake. The tradition still continues. Hindus worship snakes in temples as well as their natural habitat, offering them milk, incense, and even prayer. In India, snakes like the cobra, or the naga to the Hindi, are known to be amongst the most venomous in the world and are the most sacred. They are part of many sacred rites. The Hindus are convinced that the god of the destruction and regeneration, Shiva, is embodied in a cobra. Hindu scriptures mention Nagas, which are a class of demigods, or semi-divine beings, who lived in the subterranean world known as Patala. They protect the treasures hidden in the earth, and have the ability to assume human form. By nature they are good. But they can become destructive and vengeful if disrespected and not treated well. Hindus believe that certain types of curses and spells arising from aggrieved snake deities, can result in death, sickness, misfortune, loss of children, or even childlessness, for which one has to perform purifying rituals. The Nagas are half human but with a serpent's tail, and dwell in a beautiful underground city of Bhagavita and guard great treasures, which really reminds me once again of the vaults of the Padmanabhashami temple and the many treasures there, and the fact that we have that snake door. I just keep thinking about that. The Indian god Vishnu is located on top of a 1,000-head serpent, which represents eternity. Hindus believe in immortality of the snake and its ability to molt and renew its skin. They sometimes see cobras reincarnation of deserving people. Although snakes are worshipped throughout the year, the day of Naga Panchami festival is especially dedicated to the worship of the cobra. People through religious rites are seeking the protection of the cobra. In this picture here are pictures from that very festival, and the snake dancing and the cobras coming out of the basket. This is from the Nag Panchami festival, or snake festival in India. So, in closing, although snakes are worshipped throughout the year, the day of Nag Panchami festival and many, many others like it show that the ancient cultures, and even ones today, have revered the snakes as holy and even sacred creatures, and very divine. But today in Western culture we perceive the snake as bad. We're trying to study and understand an ancient mystery. We must keep in mind the way that they viewed the certain symbols and not our own takes on them. Well, it appears they're closing the door again, guys. I ain't got long. See you next time. Bye!